everyone and welcome back to SP Learning Labs. So today we are starting something that most students fear at the beginning, and honestly that fear is completely justified because dynamic programming is not easy when you first see it. It doesn't feel natural, it doesn't feel obvious, and most of the time it feels like you are just guessing patterns without understanding what is really happening. But here's the good news. Once this clicks, once you truly understand what dynamic programming is doing, once this clicks, once you truly understand what dynamic programming is doing, then suddenly a huge number of problems that looked impossible will start feeling structured. And that is exactly what we are going to build today. Now, before we jump into dynamic programming, let's connect it with what you already know. In the last video, you learned greedy algorithms and you saw that greedy works beautifully in some problems because it makes the best decision at the current moment and still ends up giving the correct final answer. But at the same time, you also saw a very important limitation. There were problems like 0-1 NACSAP where greedy completely failed, and no matter how smart your local decision was, it could still lead you to a wrong answer. So naturally, a question should come into your mind here. If greedy cannot be trusted in all cases, then what do we do in those problems where decisions are interconnected and choosing something early affects everything later? And that is exactly where dynamic programming comes in. Let me put you into a situation. Imagine you're solving a problem, and while solving it, you realize that you're solving the same smaller program again and again and again, almost like your brain stuck in a loop where it keeps repeating the same work. At the same point, you feel frustrated and you think, why am I doing this again? I already solved this part. That exact moment, that exact frustration is where dynamic programming is born. Dynamic programming is basically saying, if you already have solved something once, don't be foolish enough to solve it again. Just store it and reuse it. Why do we need this? Now, let's slow down and really understand the problem that dynamic programming is trying to solve. In many problems, especially recursive ones, what happens is that the same subproblem appears multiple times in different branches of recursion. And because we are not sorting the answer, we end up recomputing it every single time. This leads to exponential time complexity, which means your solution becomes extremely slow as input grows. So the real question becomes this: can we somehow remember the results of smaller problems so that we don't have to recompute them again? And the answer is yes. And that technique is exactly what we call dynamic programming. Understanding the core idea slowly. Let's not rush this. Dynamic programming is not just about arrays or tables or formulas. At its core, it's about one simple idea. If you solve a problem once, store the answer so that you don't have to solve it again. Now, this sounds very simple when you say it like that. But the problem is that identifying when to apply this idea is not simple at all. Because not every problem has repetition and not every problem allows reuse of smaller answers. So, the first thing you need to train your mind is to see repetition. So, instead of jumping to code, let's ask a very important question. How do we recognize that a problem actually has repeated a work? Recognizing overlapping subproblems. Let's take Fibonacci as an example because it shows this very clearly. When you try to calculate Fibonacci of 5, you break it into Fibonacci of 4 and Fibonacci of 3. And then Fibonacci of 4 breaks again into Fibonacci 3 and Fibonacci 2. And if you keep expanding this, you'll notice something very interesting. The same values like Fibonacci 3 and Fibonacci 2 are being calculated multiple times. Now the problem here is not logic. The logic is correct. The problem is inefficiency. You're doing the same work again and again without realizing it. That is what we call overlapping subproblems. Now just having overlapping subproblems is not enough. We need one more property. Understanding optimal structure. Understanding optimal structure. Let's think about this carefully. When we say a problem has optimal substructure, what we mean is that the best solution to the main problem depends on the best solution to its smaller parts. For example, in climbing stairs, if you want to reach step n, you must have come from step n-1 or step n-2. And if you already know the best ways to reach those steps, then you can build the answer for step n. So the final answer is built from smaller answers. This is what makes dynamic programming possible. Now that you understand the conditions, let's actually see dynamic programming in action. Now let's look at the code part of Fibonacci. Here I am taking a function and I am writing a condition. Returning dp of n, and if n is less than or equals to 1, then return n. Here we will write a condition for Fibonacci. n-1 of dp plus fib of n-2 of dp. Here this condition will bring a big change. It reduces time complexity drastically. Then return dp of n. Now let's print Fibonacci of 6. Let's save it and run it. There we go. We have our output 8. Now let's move on to bottom-up thinking tabulation. Instead of solving top-down, we can start from the smallest values and build up. Now take the function. Now notice the difference. We are not calling functions again and again. We are just filling values step by step. So instead of recursion tree, we have a table. Now write a condition here as Fibonacci dp of i-1 plus dp of i-2. Let's return dp of n. Now let's print the Fibonacci of 6. Now let's save it and run it. There we go. We have our output 8, but with a different approach. Now let's move from numbers to real problems, which is climbing stairs. Thinking first. Before writing code, think. To each step, you must come from n-1 or n-2. So naturally, we'll have ways of n equals to ways of n-1 plus ways of n-2. Now let's look at code. Initializing values dp of 0 and dp of 1 equals to 1 and 1. For I in range of 2 to n plus 1, dp of I equals to dp of I minus 1 plus dp of I minus 2. Now this is exactly Fibonacci in disguise. And this is another important lesson. Many DP problems look different, but internally they follow the same pattern. Let's print the output, climbing stairs of 5. Let's save it and run it. There we go. We have our output 8. Now, let's increase complexity and see how DP handles this. Knapsack. 0-1 problem. Here is the problem becomes interesting. At each item you have two choices. Either take it or skip it. And the challenge is that one item affects your remaining capacity. Now I am taking loops, taking an inner loop. Now writing conditions. Now taking maximum values and fixing it with Fibonacci. Now write a else condition and return the result. Take weights, values and window length of 7. Now here is the important part. At every step we are comparing two possibilities and choosing the better one. This is where DP becomes more powerful. Now let's print and see the output. Weight, value and window length. There we go. We have our output 9. Code part ends here. Best practices. Before writing code, always think about the recurrence. Always try small examples. Always define what dynamic programming of I or dynamic programming of I and J means. Common mistakes. Jumping directly to code without understanding logic. Not defining state properly. Forgetting base cases. Interview questions. What is dynamic programming in your own words? When do we use dynamic programming? Difference between memoization and tabulation. Now try this yourself. If n equal to 5 and climbing stairs, don't guess. Actually build it step by step. Answer this in the comment section and I'll help you review it. So let's recap. Dynamic programming is about avoiding repeated work. It works when problems overlap. It builds answers step by step. Next, we move to backtracking, where instead of sorting answers, we explore all possibilities carefully. If this felt clearer than before, that means you are starting to think in dynamic programming. Like, share and subscribe to SP Learning Labs, and I'll see you in the next one.